another round of You're on the Podium. Got Ethan Goodrich from where in New York? Originally?
Grew up in just outside of Ithaca, New York.
Ithaca, New York.
Yeah.
And Ethan is in a wheelchair and survived a nasty motorcycle accident in what year?
92.
92. And tell us what happened. What's up?
I was racing professionally and had spent a couple of weeks prior with one of my sponsors, one of the big dealer expos in Cincinnati, and then we drove down to Florida for the bike week, and I was participating in the Alligator Enduro, and just had a get off going down through one of those fire breaks in the race, and it high-sided me off and threw me into a tree head first, and I broke my neck as a result of the crash, and it paralyzed me from the chest down.
And what did it break in your neck? What?
It broke the C6 vertebrae, which is the sixth one below your skull.
Got it.
And as you progressively get lower, you have more function, and if you're a higher injury, you have less function. So.
Got it. And your medical term is what?
I'm a C6 quadriplegic.
Okay.
So I have limited function of my hands and arms. I can move them pretty much everywhere, but I just don't have a lot of strength in them.
Right. And I've heard it before, but the crash, you knew you were hurt.
Yeah, immediately knew what happened. I mean, I had never lost consciousness or anything like that, so when I hit the ground, natural instinct as a racer is to jump back up and find your bike and hop on it, and nothing happened. And right then and there, I was like, oh shit, something's wrong. So.
And you were way out in the outback at that point too, right?
Yeah, we were about 20 miles into the race, but the thing was, it was in that Everglades area, so it was more like we had a 15-20 minute drive just to get back to where the start was, so
right.
We were more like 40 miles back into there. And I laid there for about an hour and a half before they even got the paramedics to me.
Right.
And then they had to carry me about, I don't know, half a mile to a location where they could fly a helicopter and take me out of there.
Oh, so you got a helicopter ride out of it?
Yeah, I got to enjoy a helicopter ride.
And you said one of your fellow racers stayed with you.
Yeah, just a local guy. He was racing, and I'd passed him a few times because they ran us through these sections where they'd have us on time and kick us into a real tough section, and we'd lose time in it. And every time we did that, I'd pass him, and he said he's having a bad day anyway, and he goes he was sick of getting passed by me, so he figured he'd just hang out with me the rest of the afternoon.
What a guy, huh?
Yeah, he was a real good guy, though, and I appreciate the fact that he gave up his racing for the day and stayed with me. So
it seems in the sport when someone's injured, even you were a pro and you know this, and other people, I've heard other stories that they'll park the bike and stay with people until help comes.
Yeah, you don't see it so much in motocross because you're on the competition.
Right.
You're on a track that's contained in a small area, but
right.
The off-road races, it's just vast distances you're going, or a large track.
Right. And
there's a lot of camaraderie in
right.
the off-road I've seen over the years and stuff, and people are more than willing to step down from an event and help
right.
someone.
Yeah, the story is Destry Abbott coming up on Josh Moroso, who had a violent accident, and Destry pulled over and stayed with him and ran for help and was doing everything out in the middle of nowhere while he was in contention for winning the series.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
It's that's what that is. You're still racing today. You're teaching motocross. You're out in the world. You drive your own van. You're a rock star. You hang out at Shotgun Betty's, right?
Yeah, try to do a little of everything.
Okay, so
you gotta still have fun and live life, So I enjoy going out and having a few drinks every now and then with friends, and just sometimes not even drinking and just enjoying their company. And other times I just enjoy being out at the track. It was my life growing up, and it still is.
Right.
And it's just enjoyable to get out there and watch the racing, even though I'm not partaking in it anymore.
Right. You've got this in you for life, right?
Oh yeah,
most
definitely.
Race for life. And what do your knuckles say?
Moto life.
Yeah. So we don't even need to go any farther than that. It's okay. We got that figured out. So you're a moto guy. You're an MX trainer. You train clients from young to pro.
Yep, we do all levels. I've trained kids from 4 or 5 years old on up to 55, 60 years old. It's great, just the discipline you get out of young and old.
Right.
They're in it to learn either way. So.
Right. And where do they find you?
You go on my website, goodrichracing.com. I've got links over in other areas of friends. I've got them on your website, all of your websites actually, your Desert Image Collection Photography, Pink Racing, and on the podium also. So you
Awesome.
can pretty much find me anywhere.
I want to go back to the accident and the fear factor. Everybody that straps on a helmet, rather it be a street bike or a dirt bike or something, most people are hip. Stuff can happen.
Yeah.
Could you believe it was you? At the moment?
At the moment, I didn't want to believe it was me, but it's one of those things. It's a fear. As a racer, you try and set it aside until it happens, but it's there, and the possibility of it happening. And if you can, get through a career or a day of racing, whatever it happens to be, without getting hurt, it's just a blessing to get through that. But it's kind of there in the back of your mind. You just kind of got to shove it out of there if you want to be competitive and do it for a sport or a paycheck.
And that being reflected down through parents and their kids racing too, that it's kind of the same, right? You teach them what to do and what not to do, and put all the protective stuff on them, and have a good moto.
The big thing is is just getting all the gear, getting the top of the line stuff. Sometimes it's you can skimp on maybe a set of gloves or something, but when it comes to helmets and boots and chest protectors and the Liat braces and whatever other ones that are out there, like the EVS and Alpine Star and all those companies that have them now, it's really worth the money. Go to the top of the line, get the best one.
Right. The equipment thing,
Yeah, exactly.
When Johnny bounces on his head, he's got good stuff around him.
Yeah, exactly.
And with the kids, and even with my business and the photography, my most enjoyment is shooting the kids.
Yeah.
They're just hysterical. There's a little 4 or 5 year olds, I call them bobbleheads, because they go around the track and their heads bouncing on their bike. And they'll tip over in front of me, and I'll pick them up, and I say, "You okay?" And they give me the head shake, and they slap that thing in gear, and they buzz off.
Yep.
It's hysterical. I mean, it makes the day completely.
Well, it definitely does. Their minds are uninhibited at that point. They just want to have fun.
Right.
And as long as it's kept that way with them, they'll have fun forever.
Right. You're from New York. You're in Arizona.
Yep.
Right.
Got sick of the snow. Moved out of there after I got injured. A couple of years after that.
Got it. And how long was your rehab? If there was a rehab, but how long did it take you to get your act together, both physically and mentally?
Mentally, it was game on. I took the aspect of my professional racing career. I got hurt. Let's get as better as quick as I can and get as much out of it. So I put full effort into that. And I never was down about the situation. I just, had a goal in front of me and went for it. In that aspect, the process, I was in the hospital for about 3 months. About 3 weeks of that was in an ICU, and then I was shipped to a rehab facility, and it was just intensive, twice a day, doing everything from occupational to physical therapies, and then it was after I got home, it was another year and a half before I was released from my physical therapist, and just started doing stuff on my own after that in an everyday lifestyle. But it was 2 years before I got to where I could do everything on my own and not have to rely on someone to help me sit up and get in the chair. Even, transfer to get in a car and drive somewhere. It was a long process, but...
Right. And what year was this?
92 is when I got hurt.
92.
It was about 94 before I finally came around and was done with all the rehabbing and stuff.
Got it. And your parents, I mean, devastating to them, obviously. What was the prognosis?
It affects every family member different.
Yeah.
My dad's, he always looks at the cup being half full, not half empty. So he was just like, you're going to walk again. and that was his main goal. And as the years went on, you could see that it wasn't, but he kind of came to grips with it. And my mom was just happy that I was still here. And even though they were both a big part in my racing, and there on most all occasions, they were there every weekend. And they were still big supporters, and they weren't bitter of the situation and how it happened. So
good. The racing world is a family community. Doesn't matter what you race or who you race. It's family oriented.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's cars, trucks, off-road, motocross, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very family oriented. Moms are usually there along with dads and brothers and sisters, and it's kind of everybody packs up and goes racing for the weekend, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And that's what it was with you.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of times where it'd be probably a group of 6 or 7 of us going to the races, and we all rode. And then, like, my parents would go, and some of the other family friends, their parents would go too. So it was a big event.
Family affair.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
The toughest thing with a spinal cord injury is what?
The stuff that you don't see, I would have to say. Like, the wheelchair really isn't that bad of a thing. It's the other things that come with it, with your immune system, your nervous system that is affected, from the loss of function and the other things that just in everyday activities that you don't necessarily see without getting too in depth into it.
Right. What's your favorite Jell-O?
Shoot, I'm more of a pudding guy.
What's your favorite pudding?
I have to go with vanilla pudding.
Okay,
like
vanilla pudding.
Yeah.
What's your favorite food?
Shoot, there's a lot of them. I love pasta. I love Italian food.
Okay.
I've come to like a Mexican food a lot out here, though, too.
Okay. Every time I see this guy's Facebooks, he's eating wings somewhere. So, and he didn't even say wings. Yeah. You're a huge wings fan, aren't you?
Yeah, I love wings, too. Gotta have those.
Okay. And your favorite thing to do?
Motocross.
Boy. People that have suffered or will suffer a spinal cord injury, what do you tell them?
Just keep a positive outlook on it. It's not the end of the world by any means. I mean, I'm still here functioning. I've got all my thoughts and aspirations just like a able-bodied person, and if they get hurt, they're going to still have those goals and aspirations themselves. It's just keep a good attitude and go for it. It doesn't matter what your situation is. You can prevail whatever it is. So.
And you're connected with some of the not charities, but help groups, like Road to Recovery.
Yeah.
And Jimmy.
Yep. I've been friends with them for quite some time, and got involved when Jimmy actually started up the thing. I thought it was just something that was unique and really helpful and was needed. Back when I had my injury, I didn't have any of that support, and it was great to see someone take an initiative and step up and build a program for people, to raise money and help out injured riders.
Right.
So.
And those that don't know, Jimmy Button had a spinal cord injury in a race running as a pro, right?
Oh, yeah.
And he was a bad boy, wasn't he?
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really know him that well because he was always out here in the Arizona area.
Right.
I was in New York, but we had a kind of a common tie, and that's how we kind of became friends. His family was from Corning, New York, which is about a half an hour from where I live.
Everybody's from New York, aren't they?
Yeah, I guess.
Apparently.
It seems like everyone's transplanted out here from there. They got sick of the snow, I would assume.
Right. Cold sucks.
Yes.
And Jimmy's walking now, which is like amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean that's really inspirational just to see that. Like spinal cord injuries, every injury is different. It's just you can't map out what the injury is going to be like. It's just so different in everyone. He was fortunate to get a lot back, but in the same token, he had to work so darn hard to get what he got back. And I guess if you could say anything was similar, would be the amount of effort he put in to get where he is and the amount of effort I put into where I got. It would be on the same playing field. Got
it. And Jimmy just went on a charity bike ride for Road to Recovery, and they rode all the way across the U.S. and back, and amazing. And you can find it on roadtorecovery.com and check it out. Well-worthy cause.
And I was actually talking to him about that, and when I had saw him after he had done that, and one of the amazing things, it just shows proof of the fortitude of a motocross rider, is he had to get off, crashed, and scraped himself up pretty good, and then
on the bicycle.
On the bicycle, I think it was either practicing or when they just first started out, and then he had another crash in high winds in Texas, and he actually broke his elbow and flew back to California and had surgery on it, and was back on the bike 3 days later and finished off the ride.
Well, that's a motocrosser for you, no doubt.
And it's just like to quit wasn't in the cards. So.
Right. Ethan Goodrich, it's been fantastic to talk to you on the podium, and we want to do it again soon. And you have sponsors. Who are your sponsors?
Yeah, I've got had quite a few over the years and stuff, and just kind of stuck with them. FMF has been one of my big ones. I've got you with Desert Image Collections. I'm losing my mind a little bit here, but we'll get it down. Pink Racing. Also picked up FMF Beverage, and they're awesome. They've just been full on with that, and they've got a good quality product there, and they're getting that out. And 661 and DC Shoes and Club Tattoo. Those they've all been with them for years. So
cool. Have a great day, and thanks for being on the podium.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Woody.